Hi Pam, welcome. This is Crystal Thompson for Studio Cadia today. I'm so excited because we're making these 5 amazing cards. Gonna give it just a couple minutes to allow some people to join us live here. And be sure to comment. For every comment, you get an entry to win a $15 gift card at the end of the stream to the Studio Cadia store. So can you hear me? It looks like everything is working. Hey, hello from Spain. Hope you're having a lovely day. Be sure to let me know where you're from, guys. I can't wait to see and hear where you guys are from. What platform are you watching? We are streaming live from YouTube and on the Studio Cadia Facebook channel. So just waiting a couple more minutes. Are you guys all done with your Christmas cards? I haven't quite begun. I think we're going to do some photo cards this year. Hey, Tracy. Hi, Kimberly. Hey, Pam. Hello again. And Mariska, correct? All right. Well, we are going to get started. We have these 5 beautiful cards, and you're going to laugh. We did them all with one Floral Snowflake stencil. This is the Studio Cadia Creative Stencil Floral Snowflake, and it's something really different. There's nothing much like this on the market because there's not a lot of floral. There's tons of beautiful snowflakes, but such a large floral one. And you know, this is so pretty because you can use it for like Christmas stuff, or you can use it for anything that's kind of winter related. So let me tell you about these cards that we are making today. So I searched the internet to what kind of techniques we could do within like a 45 minute. So 5 cards within 45 minutes is the goal. Of course, it's just live, so there might be some mistakes. So this one is just doing some ink blending. So we're going to shift the stencil, and then we just have simple stamping and some heat embossing. This one is rotating the same stencil with 3 different colors of distress oxides. And look how fun, and I really just love the way it looks. It's so different. And again, like I said, this could be easily made for something else aside from a Christmas card. And then we have this DIY glimmer paste, and you know, if you follow me on any of my channels, that I love to use and create stuff that I already have without having to go to the store, because I do live in a tiny little town. We don't have much selection for craft supplies. So this is a DIY glimmer paste, and I can't wait to show you guys how we're going to make this, and you're just going to laugh and you'll never ever buy paste ever again. This one is again the same stencil, but we are using heat embossing on the stencil. We're matching the ink color to the heat embossing, and then as well we are doing the same Mary. So you can, if you're watching this, you're seeing that they're all the same Mary and then the same Christmas. They just look so different on each card, huh? So then next we have the stamping with the stencil. And I know this one looks a little bit different, but essentially we use the stencil, we spritz water on it because this is distress oxide, stamped it down and held it for a couple seconds, and it created this really cool pattern. And then we just went ahead and did our strips and the Mary. So again, 5 cards. We're gonna whip these out super quick, and really different looks. However, it's the same supplies. And so when you're making your Christmas cards and you ship them out, you know, your mother-in-law and your brother-in-law, and they all won't have the same card, but you used the same supplies. So talking about supplies, let me move these out of the way and show you what we're going to begin to use. So again, we're going to use the Studio Cadia Floral Snowflake, and this was released about a month ago. So you do have some time to still get this. You know, we have a couple weeks before Christmas. And then for cardstock, so we're making 4 cards out of white cardstock, and this is 110 pound Nina. I believe this is the classic Crest cardstock, 110 pound, and it's all been cut 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so in an A2 size. Then I have a piece of pool party or a teal, whatever you want to call it. It's a light blue. And this is what we're going to heat emboss the Mary. And then I have a lovely shade of navy here for that rose gold embossing, which is really popular. Then you are going to need another separate piece of cardstock to stamp all your sentiments. And so we will get that here in a minute. So we're going to begin by protecting our surface. So to do that, I have some pieces of printer paper, and we're going to begin with the shifting stencil. So I'm going to bring this in. If you have some of that pixie spray that holds down your stencil, more power to you. I don't. So if you watch our last live stream, again, we're trying to keep our card making with very simple, very basic supplies. So I'm going to hold down my cardstock here, and then I'm going to create a round piece of tape here, and this is purple tape, so this is going to be removable, and this is going to hold down our cardstock to our protective surface. And then we're going to bring in our stencil, and we're going to bring it up and kind of bring it up to the right corner. As you can see, I already have pieces of my purple tape. So guys, if you're just joining us, welcome. We are creating 5 cards of 5 different stencil techniques using one stencil. So this is going to be super fun. I hope you guys are creating. Are you guys creating currently? Let me know what you guys are up to. So for this, we're going to bring in 2 colors of Distress Oxide. We're going to grab, I'm missing one actually. We're going to grab the Peacock Feathers, and I'm going to grab my other dark one, which is Cracked Sapphire. Sorry about that. And so these are going to match very, very nicely with this. And depending on what color combination, if, you know, this is kind of my color combination this winter. You can do totally Christmassy colors, or you can do more blue. So I'm going to grab my Studio Cadia blenders. And the lovely thing about this is that I can usually just kind of shift in between 2. All right, so we're going to begin with the blending. So as you notice, this kind of has a half and half. And what I found with this snowflake stencil is that you really want to dab your color as opposed to kind of rubbing it in, because it does have some delicate patches, which really give it that beautiful, delicate look. Gonna look over here and read your comments. Hi guys. So, let's see. So if you don't have a local store that carries the Studio Cadia products, you can always order online directly from studiocadia.com or your favorite retailer. And we appreciate your business and shopping with us. So as you can see, we already got half of that done. We're going to move on to the Peacock Feathers. We're going to speed up the process here just so we can get this going. And again, just dabbing. So it's really important that you hold down your stencil with something such as that double-sided tape, or do a little round loop of tape such as we did. And the reason why is that it makes a difference when you are dabbing your color. So last week we kind of had a faux pas. I don't know if you were watching live. The puppies started barking and it was kind of funny. So we took care of the pups before we went live today. So here we go. Be sure to make your comments, guys. There is a gift card giveaway. I will just add the winner at the end of the stream, and then I'll send you the email to claim your gift card. So that just makes it a lot easier on everybody. So we're gonna lift just this top piece. And look how pretty. I actually think it ended up prettier than my first batch. So now for the next part is we are going to grab, we're gonna utilize the part that already has that blue. So we're gonna move down here. And again, just dabbing. And I feel like this is so relaxing when you're using stencils and dabbing, because it's so easy and very much foolproof. Okay, there we go. Next one. Be sure to have some baby wipes at hand, and that way you can wipe down your stencil before we move on to the next technique. So I'm going to read over your comments here. You know, I really love these colors too. They're so versatile and they're kind of wintry. But you know, like after the holidays, you could totally do thank you cards with the same color combination. So you can do a bunch of just stenciled stuff and have it ready to go. Okay. All right, well, we had a little dab there. That's okay. All right, so that's our first stencil. I'm gonna remove this backing here. And I like to use just printer paper because it's affordable. And so that turned out super, super easy. And so this goes from this to this. And of course, we're gonna kind of mass produce them all here at the end. All right, so now we're gonna move on. I felt like we needed to do this one. So this is our DIY glimmer paste. So let me put these things away just so we can get that started. You're going to need some white cardstock. So again, let me move all the stuff. We are live. This is the beauty of live. We can't just sneak you guys out to bring in the new stuff. Okay. So this is the plate I used last night. So I try to make all my cards the night before to going live, and that way if there's any little hitches, we can work through them. So you're gonna need a piece or like a paper plate, or if you have a beautiful plate that you can wash, you can do the two. You're gonna need some Tombow Aqua. So this is just clear glue. And then you're gonna need the color of your paste. So a couple weeks ago, we were DIYing some paste, and I'm like, how do I add color? And so I'm gonna be using a water-based ink. And then you need some glitter. So let me find my glitter. And so Studio Katia has some very pretty glitters. I actually found this in my craft room the other day, and it's just sprinkle on glitter. So this is how we're gonna DIY some paste. We're gonna grab our ink pad. We're gonna place it right on that plate. And then we're gonna grab the liquid glue. We're gonna just give it a good shot here. And I mean, this is kind of not expensive, but it's pricier glue. So if you're in the States and you can get some of the Elmer's glue, I don't know if they sell it in Canada, and it's really for kids crafts, and it's just a clear glue. So that would be another affordable way to glimmer paste. And then we're just gonna add our glitter, grabbing a little spatula, we're gonna mix it. And so as you're mixing, you can see that the glue is gonna pick up the color of the ink. And so that way you can DIY whatever color of glimmer paste that you're wanting to make. So look how pretty that is. It was super easy, and it was all using stuff that you have. As long as you have a water-based ink, you can do this. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside fairly quickly. We're gonna bring in our next set of white cardstock. And then again, we wanna be sure to hold it down. So again, just doing a little blob here, setting it down. We're gonna bring in the stencil, and I'm not even gonna clean this up because we're gonna have quite the cleanup project here shortly. And so for this one, it's important that your stencil is actually really nice and flat. So if you feel the need to use additional tape to hold it down, please do, just because it's gonna turn out a lot cleaner. You won't have any of that gel kind of sneaking at the bottom of the stencil. I'm gonna read over your comments here. So they sell clear Elmer's at Staples. Yeah, I think they sell it pretty much everywhere. I think it's a popular, especially with like the slime making phenomenon going on. If you have kids, they just wanna make slime. I have 4, so that's all we do is make slime. All right, guys, so we're gonna grab our little spatula. If you don't have a spatula, you know, a knife, a little plastic knife would work. And we're just gonna do this in one direction, and that way you don't do this, which ends up creating these little gaps within the stencil, and then you end up with more, you know, some of this glimmer under the stencil, and it, you know, it beats the whole purpose of it. So super gentle, because we don't want to lift up that stencil. And this is glue, so I do want to encourage you to clean up your stencil fairly quickly after using it. But like I said, I used it yesterday. It works, it's okay. And because it is, you know, water-based glue, water-based ink, it all comes out very, very nicely. And we are running out on that one. So now we're gonna make a second batch. So I'm gonna set this aside just for a little bit. Gonna grab more. Let me see if that's okay. It is. I just making sure that we were within frame here. So have you guys done DIY glimmer paste? I'm seriously loving it. You can just change out the different types of glitter that you use. So let me see what your comments say. Cool. Could you use watercolors or powdered pigment to color the glue? I don't see why not. I mean, as long as it was some sort of water-based pigment, you know, like if you have re-inkers, I think that would work as well. Watercolors, I would think so. I think they would just be a lot more watered down. But I think most of the inks in the market right now are water-based. So I am using Aquatini from Catherine Pooler, and like, so this is a dye ink, but I've done it with like the Stampin' Up inks, and hopefully one day Studio Katia will have their own inks. That would be amazing, right? Amazing. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm just gonna have to keep making some of this. I'm almost out of glue. That's not good. We're almost there. Okay. So would you guys consider making some of this? And see, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna grab some of this color. So you can make it as dark or as light as you choose. I mean, it's just, there's no wrong way to do it. You know, this would be really fun with just a little bit of blue to put over one of the snowmen. That'd be pretty cool. All right, so there we have it. Okay, and we will not run out. So again, you want to use a glue that's pretty affordable, and like I said, the Elmer's clear glue would be a good one, but I'm sure other countries have essentially the same thing, right? They just rebrand them of clear glue. So all right, so we're going to set this aside and move it down here. We're going to lift the stencil, and then we're going to hold. Oh my gosh, look how fun. Okay, let me grab my baby wipe. All right, have my baby wipe out of the way here in a minute, but look how fun. And I kind of love it, since I didn't clean out the stencil, I grabbed that blue and I gave it an outer shade. But once it dries glitter, guys. Look how that's the dried version of it. Super cool, right? I'm so excited. So we're gonna set this one aside as well and let it dry. I think it's gonna take a couple minutes. Well, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna clean out my stencil here, and I'll probably get a new piece of printer paper, because that one's pretty glued, pretty glittery. And so you can run your stencils under water. I actually have a bathroom right next to me here, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna clean it up with the baby wipes. And as you can see, it comes off pretty easy, considering it was such a large area. And I'm trying to be super careful about not, you know, tearing out any pieces of the stencil, because this one is very, very intricate cut. So if you find that your stencil still is really, really sticky, you could totally go run it underwater. But for the purposes of our live, we're just gonna clean this up. I'm gonna grab another baby wipe. So which one has been your favorite card so far, or favorite technique? The DIY glimmer paste, the shifting of the stencil with 2 colors? Really interested to see which one's your favorite. I kind of actually really enjoy this next one coming up. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside, let it dry. We're gonna move this, and we're gonna bring in another piece of white paper and white cardstock. Okay, am I in the frame? I am in the frame. So we're gonna set this aside. And now we're gonna create the stamping with the stencil. So this is a fairly new technique to me, but I feel like it's just super, super fun. All right, So we're going to create another little circle here to hold this down. And thankfully, you don't actually have to hold down the stencil on this one. So we're going to grab that. Now we're going to bring in our ink blenders. And I'm going to be using the following colors. We're going to do Victorian Velvet, which is kind of a purpley pink. We're going to do Worn Lipstick. And we're going to do, where is it? Peacock Feathers, which is what we just used earlier. And then again, grabbing my blender. So we got Peacock Feathers. I need 2 more blenders for this guy. Now we're going to use this one over here, and then we're going to use some new ones. So somebody asked if I had one for each color family, and I do. I really do try, but I haven't used it. We just haven't gotten there yet. We're going to begin with that Peacock Feathers. And we're just gonna blend. And honestly, guys, I love my Studio Cadia blender brushes because they're little and they're very flexible. And they are at a great price point. So I'm not just saying that because I'm doing a Studio Cadia video, but they really are amazing. So we're gonna have these little polkas going on here. This one's a little lighter. We are going to move on to the Victorian Velvet. And yeah, I like your idea. I had seen people cleaning up the their stencils with soapy water, and yeah, next time I'm gonna have to just have a little bowl of soapy water for my live because I don't want to sneak out over here and go wash it in the sink, but that would work too. So I'm gonna continue on. Guys, I appreciate all your comments. Like I said, you will be entered to win a $15 gift certificate to the Studio Cadia store. And I will just pick a winner here at the end of the stream when I sit down on my computer. And then you can directly message us to claim that. So we're just going to continue adding this Victorian Velvet. And then we're going to move on to the Worn Lipstick. Really gonna grab that color. And so when you mix this Worn Lipstick with that Peacock Feathers, of course we get this beautiful purple. I'm gonna use my tape to hold on so I don't have any finger marks on this. And it's important that you do use something that's an ink that's going to react with water, such as Distress Oxides. I know there's other brands of them that I can't recall right now that do react with the water. And the reason why is when you're stamping with the stencil, it really makes a difference. And it just gives it a very different look as opposed to just, you know, blending or stenciling with paste or whatnot. So it's all part of the process, right? And so another tip that I can give you when you're gonna stamp with a stencil is that you use a lot of ink on your cardstock, and that way it does have a solid base to grab on. Okay, we're gonna set this aside. We're gonna bring back the stencil, and then we're gonna grab a little mister. So I have my mini mister. That looks really cool. So I have my mini mister, and I'm gonna just spritz everything, but I'm not gonna do it right over this. I'm gonna set over here to the side, and I'm gonna spray it. And so if you use something with a fine mist, that works best. So now see it's all wet. We're gonna flip this around, and we're just gonna hold. And if you had a paper towel or something, you could put a paper towel right here, and it would absorb the water that kind of squished through the stencil. But other than that, there's not much to it. We're gonna lift, and look how cool is that, right? I'm gonna lift this white part. And so again, we're gonna let this one dry. But look how fun. And then you can still see the stencil in it. So Again, another way to use your stencils with, you know, ink blending. I'm gonna set this one on the bottom down here under my desk as well to allow it to dry and not step on it. All right, what do we have left, guys? We have stencil shifting. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna go grab another piece of cardstock. All right. I didn't think I'd use this many. Okay. And so again, same process that we've done with all of our other ones. We're gonna just attach a piece of white cardstock to our surface. And like I said earlier, if you have some pixie spray, that works too. And now we're gonna bring this down. Make sure that your stencil is dry prior to sticking it down. And so what we're gonna do is think of placement. So I'm gonna try to place this as a straight line. So it's gonna angle my stencil. Or you can do it the straight way too, right there. This is alive, guys. This is real life, real crafting. And I hope you guys are crafting too. It's really fun to be able to sit down with a friend and just craft together. Okay, so the color selections for this one, and again, you can change them up. I'm gonna be using the same colors that I've been using this whole time. We're gonna do peacock feathers, broken china, and cracked pistachio. I'm gonna set all the other ones aside. And I'm only gonna use 2 blender brushes for this one because I feel like I have enough of a color variation here going on. So we're gonna begin with, we'll start with our lightest one, which is the Distress Oxide and Cracked Pistachio. And again, you don't have to use Distress Oxides for stencil rotating like what we're gonna do now. You can use whatever you like. This is what I have on hand, and it's already out, right? And this is the whole point of using what you have and what's on hand with minimal supplies, and you're not having to run around all over your craft room grabbing supplies. So guys, have you seen the new release from Studio Katia? Go check it out. We are going to be blending, and go check out the new release. What is your favorite product out of that release? And I really want to know what you guys like. And the reason why is, you know, when Katia is making the products, she's designing them, you know, she's really thinking about what we're going to use in our craft rooms. So I'm very much a floral person, so that's probably why I rotated towards this stencil, you know, with the floral snowflake. I like coloring, not too much coloring. Okay, so we're gonna lift this up, and then we're just gonna rotate. So now we're gonna put this in the center. And then another trick that I found is, you see this little dot, you wanna line that up. Okay, we're gonna switch out colors. Let's grab peacock feathers. And so I felt like doing 3 colors would really fulfill the entire circle that we're gonna do here. We're gonna ink up our brush, and then again we're gonna dab. And I love dark colors because it just seems to go a lot faster. All right, I'm gonna read your comments. Let's see, are you using Nina 110 pound? No, I'm using Nina 110 pound for everything. And the reason why is that I like to use the same product. I already, you know, you get one sheet, you cut it into 5.5 and 4 1/4, so then you end up with four card panels. So it's the maximizing your supplies, and sometimes we don't have watercolor cardstock. Like I said, I live in a tiny little town, and it's kind of difficult to get supplies. So we got to make things work. And you'll see everything's drying right now, but you'll see that everything's working really nicely, and it dries quite nicely, and it'll be super ready to just place on your card bases. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna lift Look how fun that is. Just rotating stencils is so much fun. So we're gonna find our little center point here, and you'll kind of end up seeing the stencils, or the, well, yeah, I guess the stencil on the card is going to start kind of being in the same, like overlapping. I don't even know what I want to say. They're gonna start overlapping, and that's just fine. So we're gonna come in with Broken China. This is gonna be your last color. We're gonna really ink it up, and we're gonna circle in here, but then we're gonna dab the outer part because of these really delicate pieces. But it goes really quick. So where are we at? How long have we been live? You can't see right now, but I mean, we're getting through all these different cards using the same supplies over and over, even though they're gonna look super different. All right, guys, I'm reading. What was your favorite Studio Cadia new release? All right. We're going to continue on. So yeah, I love the stencil for all the different things that we can do, such as rotating and, all right. Move this out of the way. Let's see what we got. Da, da, da. Look how fun. And you can totally go in and add flickers or water, but I'm gonna let it be so you can see there's just a slight color difference there, but that's okay. It's still very Christmassy, very, very pretty. I'm gonna set that aside. And now we are to our last card. So I'm going to clean this up before we move on, get all this color off. And we're going to be doing some heat embossing with the stencil. If you're not familiar with heat embossing and stencils, essentially you're using the stencil as a stencil, grabbing your ink and then dabbing it on. The ink's going to pass through the cutouts of the stencil onto your cardstock, and then you add your embossing powder and you heat set, and then you have the image from the stencil. It's really another way to use your stencils and to really maximize your supplies. Okay, we're going to use one more. Yeah. Let's see. 30 minutes. Thank you, Pam. So I have a double screen. One of these days I'm going to show you guys what I got going on here. If this is Crystal Thompson, I don't know if I introduced myself today, but I have an Instagram, and the other day I posted a story about what my craft room looked like, and you could see what we do when we go live. And I have 2 screens, and I have 2 desks, and it's a whole production. It really is a whole production to go live, but it is so much fun. Okay, last but not least, we are going to do some heat embossing with the stencil. So I'm going to utilize the same one. I'm going to place a piece of tape in the back to hold onto my surface. And you do want to cover your surface. I feel like the embossing ink is kind of oily. I don't know if that's the right connotation for that, but yeah, it's a bit oily. So I don't want to get any oils on my surface here. Okay, for my embossing ink, I'm going to be using the Simon Says Embossing Watermark ink. You can use whatever you like. There's so many different brands. Versamark is another favorite. And so, again, just use whatever you like that is slow drying. So if you don't have technically an embossing ink, but you have a slow drying ink, you can use that to emboss as well. And all that's doing is really inking up your cardstock, and it's gonna grab on to the embossing powder. So just making sure that this is completely saturated. And I'm dabbing down, not rubbing, and the reason why is because of all the intricate cuts. Okay. All right, we're gonna remove the stencil. Well, maybe. It lets me, it's done. I'm gonna flip this over because it's not wet. And then we're gonna come in with our embossing powder. I'm using the Lawn Fawn Rose Gold. So again, depending on what you're looking for, I just felt that the rose gold and the blue would go very well, very nicely. So there you go, and we're gonna heat set this. So I'm gonna move my embossing powder out of the way. Actually, I'm just gonna put it back in my little container because I will knock this over on live video. I know it. Okay, I'm gonna bring my heat gun, cover your ears, and we're gonna heat set from the bottom, and that way you can see as it heat sets it, and it doesn't blow any of that powder off your card. And continue on. And if we were filming, I would pause right here and do this so you didn't have to go through the excruciating pain of watching this. Well, I know rose gold and navy are quite pretty, and I don't think it's a color combination that is used very often. You know, I like that Happy Holidays. I haven't used it much. I think I used it once, so I can't wait to sit down with that. Okay, one more. And then, as like I said, you can really see where we missed the spot if you go in from the bottom. We'll just do one large swipe here. And there you have it. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the strips of cardstock. So let me show you what we got so far, alrighty? So we have, of course, a heat embossed one. We have the stencil shifting. We have the stencil rotating, stamping with the stencil, and my favorite, DIY paste with your stencil. I want to check, it's still pretty sticky, so we're gonna, we might not put our sentiments on that just yet. All right, for the sentiment, we're gonna grab our white cardstock, and there's embossing powder everywhere, and really think about the colors that you want to use for your stem. So I'm gonna bring in 3 different colors of ink. So I have Aquatine, Bellini, and Juniper Mist, and of course all these kind of match what we had earlier from Distress Oxides. These are just going to be used for the purpose of stamping. I'm going to grab my sentiment. In this case, I'm going to grab the new release. And let's see, I'm kind of liking this one. And guys, I love live videos because you could really see what we're doing. Or we can do the snowflakes. What do you think? Let's take a vote. We'll do the gift tag greetings or the snowflakes, and I'm thinking, thanks so much. What are you guys, what are your thought process on that? Or here we go, this is what I was looking for. The Poinsettia border, so we ended up using the Merry and the Christmas. We're gonna use this one. I know I took a vote, but we're gonna grab our color block. And again, we are mass producing cards. We're doing 5 cards with 5 different techniques. So again, super easy way to get all your Christmas cards done in one batch. So I'm gonna do, let's see, I think this guy needs to have this teal color Christmas. We're gonna ink that up. And we're just gonna stamp it down. Am I within frame? Okay, I am. I'll need to push this up though. Okay. Then I feel like, so this one got teal. Let's clean it off. We're gonna move on to the Juniper Mist, which is just a navy. I think we're gonna do 3 of these. So Christmas. Christmas. And all we're gonna do with these is we're gonna cut them into strips. So it makes it super easy instead of stamping, you know, stamping, trimming. We just stamp all and then we trim all. And it's just super, super fast way to make cards or make sentiment strips. Making sure that this is dry. And then we're gonna grab this aquatini. So guys, as I'm finishing these guys up, I want to know, what do you guys want to watch next? What do you want to learn? I'm very interested to see what you guys would like to see on our next live video. And we're also playing the dates. You know, we're doing Wednesdays or Thursdays, seeing what day works best for everybody in regards to lives. I know that people are at work, and so we really want to maximize the, you know, the audience. Okay, so we're gonna put a strip and we're gonna match this top line. Okay. And we're gonna match this clear top. So we're gonna continue on. I feel like I should have Christmas music on. However, thankfully to YouTube regulations, I can't put any music behind because I don't own the copyrights to it. So one of these days, right? Maybe we'll get Taylor Swift to write us a Studio Katia Christmas song. I know. I really do like these inks. I really like stamping out. Actually, I don't have an ink that I don't like. It all depends. It all comes down to colors. So now we have our strips. Christmas. So we're gonna grab our foam tape. And some of them are perfect and some of them are not, and that's okay. So we're gonna just add a strip of foam to each of this. And so if you find that it's kind of wobbly at the end, feel free to add 2 pieces of foam. And we'll just continue on. Adding the foam in my end frame, yep. I just keep looking over to see if I'm in frame. It's quite easy to move off to the side and not show you what I'm doing. We're almost there. Let's see. I'm game for seeing anything. I just like watching. Emboss resist would be a fun one. Yeah. We can make several different cards or think of a new technique to use with emboss resist. That would be lovely. Okay. So we're going to bring in our cards. So this one, we decided this one was going to have the teal. And if you don't have ink that match, like another ink that matches what you use for blending, you can use Distress Oxides to stamp. You just need to heat set it, and that way it doesn't rub off because they do take a little longer to dry. I did find that. So there's 1, 2. So again, be sure to comment. Gives you an entry to a gift card. This one has the aquatini because I felt that this one matched rose gold of the heat embossing. 1 more. And I don't know if our DIY glue paste is going to be ready to go just yet. I'll check it out, but I don't think it will be. That's okay though. Let's see. Oh no, we're ready. Sweet. So maybe we should start with that one next time. Anything that requires any sort of gel. And I think we're going to place this guy right here. Okay. So now we have the Christmas on everything. So now we're going to create the Mary. So I have a piece of teal cardstock. And I felt like this matched everything the best. And we're going to be using the white Wow Embossing White Puff Twinkle Embossing Glitter. Holy smokes, that's a really long name. And that's going to be what we're going to use for the Mary because it's white and glittery and puffy. We're going to grab our acrylic block and we're going to stamp this. So if you have the die for your stamps, that's fabulous. I'm not going to use it for a couple of different reasons. I'm just going to do some fussy cutting for the Mary. I cleaned off my stamp. I'm going to bring in again my watermark embossing ink. Oh, set that aside. And we want to bring in either a coffee filter to hold your embossing powder or just a piece of white printer paper. And for the purposes of the video, I try to use nice, pretty printer paper, but that's just for the video. In real life, we use scrap bills, right? So we're gonna stamp the Mary. We're gonna grab and flip. And so I'm gonna be pretty quick on this because I don't want my ink to dry up. And you'll be able to get, if you flip around your stamp, you should be able to get about 5 to 6 Marys on this. And so it really utilizes the entire cardstock. And this is a 5.5 by 4.25. So it's just another piece of scrap that I have from one of my full sheets. So I'm going to add my embossing powder. And now we have the Mary, so we're going to grab our heat gun. And we're going to heat set from the bottom. Thank you. I don't know why it's so clean. I think it's probably because we have a habit of cleaning the stamp prior. I just like it to clean my stamp prior to grabbing that ink, that clear ink. So as your gun gets hotter, you really want to move it around because I found that white embossing powder does tend to disappear if it's overheated, overcooked. And I don't know why that is. So if there's any chemistry majors around here that can tell me why that happens. It has to do with pigment or color composition. I don't know. But the white disappears if it's overcooked. And normally I would have just used regular white embossing powder, but I'll tell you what, yesterday in my effort to refill my container, I added clear to the white because it looks the same. So now I'll have a mix of clear white, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Probably toss it. We're going to put this back in our container, and that little time frame is going to allow our Marys to cool off. And then we're going to bring this back. We're going to grab our scissors. And so as I had mentioned, you overcook it, it disappears. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then I wanted to mention that there are coordinating dies. I'm just not going to use them with this video. I'm just going to fussy cut. And it's super fast. It really is. If you're having trouble turning your cardstock, just cut it out. Grab it. And that way you can just turn your paper. So for the purposes of this live, I'm not going to go ahead and cut them all just because it would be silly. But I'm going to just do the one. And I'm using the Tim Holtz, I believe these are just the small scissors. And at the end of the live stream, I'll go ahead and add all the products that I'm using. So we're going to add a little bit of foam. And then we're going to place this. And so as I mentioned, I'm not going to go ahead and cut everything. I just wanted to show you how you end up with all those Marys. And so there you have it. So this is the one that we did with the DIY glimmer paste. That one's still kind of wet. This is the one that we did the stencil shifting, and essentially it looks like this when it's finished. And then we have the one that we heat embossed. And it looks like that. You can even change out the color, but again, we're just trying to make them quick Christmas cards. This is our rotating stencil. And we got that. And last but not least, this is stamping with stencils. And so you just pop, oh no, pop it. I can't pop it out. Pop out the Mary and just put the Mary on here. So guys, that does it for today. Be sure to comment. I'm about to close the comments on this. Thank you so much for watching. This is Crystal Thompson. We're doing one stencil 5 ways. The stencil is the Floral Snowflake stencil from Studio Cadia. And then the stamp set is the Poinsettia Borders. Poinsettia? I don't know how I'm saying it. Anyways, using the Mary and the Christmas, and I really like it because you don't have to use Mary. You use celebrate blessings, celebrate wishes, winter blessings, winter wishes. So it doesn't specifically have to be to Christmas. And you end up with this beautiful array of winter cards as mentioned earlier. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a fabulous Wednesday. We will see you next week. Stay tuned on the Studio Cadia YouTube. I have a new video for you on Friday. And then let's see, I should go on live again to next week, next Thursday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard, 11 Pacific. Leave your comments for a chance to win. I will put a winner here shortly. Thanks so much, guys. Have a beautiful day.